So so a guy took me outside, and and I'm handing out my money, and
That is
and he's got
hilarious.
my phone, and he's saying, "Okay, I've put Bitcoin in your wallet," and I'm going,
All right.
"Okay."
That's so funny.
That was dodgy.
As we see, he was saying in the interview that, when the SEC market is weak, crypto is weak too. So
Yeah.
it has really become a correlated asset with everything else, but it wasn't supposed to be like that.
I think next week is going to be sort of a wild ride. I'm putting a little bearish tone into the market here. I think it's going to be challenging moving forward, and it's kind of a technical trader's dream.
Hello BBT, welcome everyone. We are at episode number 3 of After Hours with Traders. The feedback has been positive. I'm so glad everyone's enjoying this segment. And today we have some really special guests. We have our Commander-in-Chief, Andrew, welcome in the house. We have Mr. Brian with his Mexico tan. And in the Zoom, we have Jarad with us, our crypto specialist. Welcome, gentlemen. How are you guys doing?
Good, thank
Great.
you. I'm excited. Yeah,
Very
you did the first one with Brian. I missed, and no, I'm happy to be here, and I'd love to come every week for them. Yeah,
That's
come around.
amazing.
Yeah, looking forward to our third episode. This will be great.
Brian, how's your socks looking this
yeah,
time?
you see, I've got these are my sushi socks. So hopefully everyone's enjoying those.
We got so many positive comments about your socks.
Socks. Hey, something about my shirt as well. It would be awesome.
Yeah.
I would love to hear. Before we start talking about business, Andrew, how was your trip? 110 kilometers. What is going on?
Yeah, that was nice. Well, trail running is definitely one of my passions, beside mountaineering. So I was in Cape Verde, which is a bunch of islands in Western Africa in Atlantic. There was a trail running race, 110 kilometers in 3 days, which would be about 70 miles in 3 days. And I did it. There was 22 runners, and only 6 actually finished all 3.
And you
I
were one of
was
the
and I
6?
was the last one, the sixth
Wow.
one who finished it. But it was really fun, and it was just, I pushed my limits really. I finished all 3 stages total 20 hours. The first one he did it in 10 hours.
Wow.
So the first person, Tom Owens, he was from Scotland.
Wow.
And that shows how human body is really capable of.
Yeah.
You can just go there in that heat and that very technical terrain. They were just running up, and it actually inspired me. The Tom, I met him. He's 40 years old.
Wow.
He's older than me, and is so fit and going up. And it was amazing, and I highly recommend people to try it. Especially, I know Peter, for example, he said he wants to get into that. If any members from the community want to run, trail running is really nice. Go sign up to these amateur runs like me. They have different, distances: 5 kilometers, 5, 10 miles, 15. You don't have to just go to 100 mile. And the good thing about it is when you go there, people cheering for you. They usually have the best trail marked, and there are rest stations. They give you food, water, watermelon, whatever.
Wow.
It's really fun to do it. It's a really, really good way into that. And it's just a very nice community that people really support each other. Yeah,
Maybe we should host one.
Nice.
BBT running.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, there's so many things we can do, but I love to have some traders coming and running with us.
Yeah.
I mean, we were thinking of doing one this year, which got canceled. But yeah, maybe next year I announce which one I want to go, and if there's any runner who wants to come, we would love to come, and we run different distances.
Yeah, I think one of the things that really attract a lot of people, maybe to you as well, is that perseverance, because I think it also reflects in trading, right? The running, there's so much similarities when you do extreme sports, whether it's trail running, marathon running, and trading, right? Like, you're in some bad positions. It's all mental game, right?
It's all a mental game, because I was really thinking of not doing the 3rd day, and even the organizers came in after the 2nd day and said, "Hey, are you sure you want to do it?" Because they're also responsible. They don't want to send someone.
Yeah.
But people told me, the other participants, "Yeah, come on, you can do it. Don't give up."
Don't give up. Yeah.
It's all the mental game here.
Yeah.
My body could handle it. It's just all the mental game. It's like climbing the Everest. I want to maybe next year I try it. I know my buddy can do it. The oldest person who climbed Everest was 82 years
Yeah,
old, Japanese.
yeah,
But it's just the mind. That is your mind telling you to stop, don't do it, go.
Wow, inspiring, man.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I know members love it. In the other side of the extremes, we had Brian sitting
Well,
at the
yeah,
beach.
no, I had my own challenges. You know, there was I was in Mexico. It was a friend of mine getting married. It was a Indian wedding. So there, anybody who's been to an Indian wedding knows there's lots of partying and. You know, and I'd been training for many years to stay up with all these young people late at night and drinking, and it was a real challenge. You know? And I wanted to go to bed, but they kept saying, "No, go! You can do it.
You
Have
had some
another shot."
really great trades too from Mexico. Yeah.
So in Mexico, yeah. So it was it was lots of fun, and yeah,
That's
nice
awesome.
nice to get out of the rain and into some sunshine. So
Both of you guys were really missed. Jarad, I know you missed the Vancouver meetup. Brian, you had to
Yeah.
go to the.
Yep.
You guys were absolutely missed. We had a blast. But let's get into it. Lots of stuff to cover. What a week. We had the Fed's talk happening. Jerome Powell. Initially, the bond market was seeing 2 rate hikes, but we saw a possibility of 3 rate hikes.
Yep.
Market rallied, which was surprising, and then gave all of that back. So let's get to you guys. You guys are the pros. Brian, what do you see out of this move?
I think that that there was a lot of anticipation, obviously, going into this meeting with the Fed. You could kind of see it in the first 2 days. The markets were a little bit unsettled, but they were just sort of trading along, waiting to hear what the Fed would say. So when we did finally, the minutes were released and Powell started talking. I think there was just sort of a relief rally, okay, we know they're gonna tighten, They were a little bit more hawkish than I think the market really had anticipated, but I think a lot of people saw that as a positive, thinking that, the economy is recovering so that they can, they have latitude or room to tighten more. So yeah, so we had a nice rally. And I think it kind of fed on itself when people started seeing it rallying. Other people jumped in and said, "Oh, good news! We're off and running, back to new highs." Yeah, and then of course next day we gapped up and sold off. So it's been a volatile week, and it's been a really good week for trading. Yeah, as traders, we've had this volatility has been great.
Jarad, what do you think? Well, how do you read this stuff that is happening with the Fed? What's your kind of prediction of next week?
Yeah, I think the hawkish stance with the accelerated taper, the purchase program basically kind of reducing significantly next year. I see a lot of continued volatility. I think we're heading into a state where that's not really going to subside the same way as we were kind of climbing in our bullish trend. And I also see a lot of really aggressive sector rotation as we get new information. We kind of saw it this week. You saw like the defensive sectors really catch a bid, and spotting it early, sort of jumping on board, and then realizing that it could turn on a dime as soon as the market just decides, hey, it's no defensive anymore, but still equities, still want to find high growth, risk on, maybe inflationary at some point. Still looking to see sort of where the money is going at this point.
Yeah, we're all anticipating, right? As traders, that's our job, right? Number one job is anticipating. Andrew, what do you think? Any thoughts?
I'm bullish in the market. I think it's going to go up.
Oh, we know you're bullish.
My position is telling that I'm bullish. I know Peter and Jarad are a little bit bearish, but I'm very bullish in the market.
Just a little bit, yeah. I know, yeah. Whenever I hear people on Twitter being bearish and they're like, "Oh, market's overvalued," and I agree with you, it's overvalued. But where would I park my money? You're a pension fund, you're a long duration fund. Where would you park your money beside equities? They can't answer that. If you tell me a place that would yield me 8, 9, 10%, 11%, and the government's not going to default, you could get it in some countries, their bond. But anyway, it's wait and see game, right? Going into next week.
Yeah, I think you made a good point. With inflation running fairly hot and the Fed seeing inflation continuing well into 2022. I mean, if you put your money in a bond, you might be making 1.5%, and inflation's running at 4.5%. You're basically losing money after inflation. So yeah, it's a bit of a Tina with there isn't any alternative to for where to put your money now. So I think that's certainly supporting the market and supporting some of these high valuations.
Yeah, yeah. So if you watched our show, you know, first we discuss the market, and the second thing we do is we jump into Twitter, because Twitter in the finance world is a wild place. So let's start. This week, Time magazine named Elon Musk, I know Andrew's favorite hero, Elon Musk, Person of the Year. There's a lot to unpack here, but I would love to hear you guys' perspective. Andrew, what do you think of Elon becoming the Person of the Year?
Well, first of all, the Time for Person of the Year doesn't necessarily is not an endorsement. Like Hitler was the Person of the Year in 1938, or Stalin was the 1939 Person of the Year. But overall, I'm not a big fan of Elon Musk, just because I don't like his personality. But that doesn't mean that he's not a great and amazing entrepreneur. And he's the richest person in the world, and he's definitely passionate toward working at one of the biggest challenges that we have, which is climate change. And definitely the richest person in this planet should be someone who is tackling one of the biggest challenges that human has ever faced. But he's not the only person who is been pushing this. You know, there has been so many companies working on electric cars before Elon Musk. And Elon Musk was saved by DOE loan during Obama administration. And now he's the same person who's going trolling Democrats and insulting them on Twitter, which I don't like. I personally don't like that.
Oh,
but
we're gonna get to those.
He should remember that you know, he was saved. His company was saved by that $400 million DOE loan. And you gotta stay a little bit humble. Plus, I wasn't really a big fan of what he did on the Dogecoin. You know, just pumping at cryptocurrency or some manipulating with the stock market. He's not doing that anymore because the SEC fined him. But now he's doing it with thing. But overall, I respect him. As of course, who am I not to respect him? He's an amazing entrepreneur. But what about the people who created vaccine, the front line workers, COVID heroes? I don't know if he's the most respectable person right now. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think you mentioned. I mean, the word you wouldn't attach to Elon Musk is humble. He's definitely not a humble guy, but I guess to be an entrepreneur, you have to be a little bit brash. You certainly have to take risks, and he's done that. And I'm in the same camp as you, Andrew. I can't say that I admire him, but I certainly admire his work ethic, his ingenuity, and the things that he's accomplished, definitely. But so there's some other things that are a little bit dodgy, let's say.
Dodgy.
Use the
no pun intended.
No pun intended. No.
Jarad, what do you think? I'm sure you're keeping up with the news.
I'm kind of in the same camp. I certainly see the influence that he has. It's almost a binary one-to-one with a lot of effects that he's mentioned or just tweeted about. Main thing I'm looking at is just kind of seeing what's his next move. As he kind of shifts from project to project, is his next big thing going to be something that the market is going to really like and respond to? Is it going to be sort of that, sell the news event once again, and hopefully just the stability of the richest person in the world in regards to what he's saying? That would be a nice sort of smoothing factor for the personality side, because it truly is sort of the business person, Elon, and then the personality, Elon, kind of separating those two and trying to deal with them.
100%. I really like what you said there, is like trying to find out what the next thing is. And for us as traders, that's what it's all about, right? Finding the next opportunity. And God bless Elon, because I know, Brian, you've been selling puts on Tesla, and same with me. I sold 2 puts on Tesla today, and when Tesla took off, and he's been giving. He's made a lot of people millionaires.
Yeah.
He's made a lot of people broke, but he's also helped a lot of people become rich. I wanted to get into his Twitter feud with both Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. That was funny. We're gonna put a screenshot of the tweets and the replies. They were hilarious. He
also
fear.
did one with I think the senator of Oregon. I don't remember his name. That when he said something about taxing the rich, he said, "Why your profile picture looks like someone who just came."
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah, I didn't want to take it there, but yeah. Oh,
Anyways, yeah.
It's definitely crazy. There's this element. There's been research done on I don't know if it was Time magazine, but definitely The Economist. Whenever something comes on the cover, it usually marks the top, and then they've done it. And Tesla been selling off for the past week. So are we at the top of the Tesla? Is Tesla days over? Who knows?
What does Jarad? What do you think about evaluation of Tesla? Do you think its current evaluation is reasonable as a car company? I'm sure it's not. But what's your thoughts on Tesla evaluation?
So here's that dreaded F word, the fundamentals coming in.
I specifically said no F words. I'm sorry, everyone.
I think now with a lot more competition coming into the space, which is really the sort of theme of Tesla, kind of allowing their patents to be open source, and a lot of companies, like you said, in the EV space prior to Tesla, just Tesla having the notoriety. There's going to be that high competition, and eventually I think it will sort of smooth itself out with Tesla's valuation probably coming back down. It's one of those weird situations where just because I think it can come down, I would almost never short Tesla. It's too challenging. You got to wait for those signals, and kind of like what we saw with the potential for maybe selling some shares from Elon. It actually did mark a relative top. We saw those big drawdowns and the liquidity kind of dry up to the top side. So it's worth paying attention to. With regards to the valuation, I think the company would need to have other business vectors, other sources of revenue, and just sort of bringing in the valuation a little bit more respectively.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, we talked about it, Brian. Remember in the first episode, we said there's two bubbles. There's the structural bubbles and fundamental bubbles. You never want to short the fundamental bubbles because they could stay irrational for a really long time. Speaking of the markets, let's go to the other side of the market. There were some hearings about crypto. What's going on in the crypto market? Bitcoin's having a rough week, Jarad. What's happening? Your name is now anonymous with Bitcoin. So
Crispo expert.
You're the Bitcoin manager.
So if I'm just looking at technical structure here, I'm looking at a market that's fairly defensive in regards to sort of the next phase of bullish, bearish, or neutral. When I look at the Bitcoin technicals and the response at 42,000, it's a very key inflection point for the market. And when I see those inflections hold in the way that they do, I often just think that it's a pause, it's a defense, and ultimately if bigger money wants to reaccumulate there, we should start to see it in regards to that sort of trading range that forms thereafter. It's the same idea as when we came down in early May down to the 30,000s. We actually defended another key level on the bullish uptrend, and that basically marked a low that brought us to new all-time highs, albeit a little bit of lack of follow-through up there. So one thing I'm paying close attention to is just the overall market dominance of Bitcoin relative to the crypto space, and also just the general market cap of crypto assets as a whole, because that really shows whether there's still an inflow of capital, maybe just not in that particular asset, in other tokens, other projects, and really just kind of the focus has shifted a little bit for the short term.
Yeah, you had mentioned earlier that that Ethereum seems to be hanging in a little bit better than Bitcoin right now. Maybe
Right.
are there other coins that are showing a little bit more stability that you can think of, or?
So as far as like some up and coming projects, there's a lot of talk right now about Avalanche, which sort of garnished its way into the top 10 recently. It's one of those projects where the speed and efficiency of it sort of rivals Ethereum. Developers can build smart contracts on that particular blockchain, and the performance is better, the gas fees are much better, et cetera, et cetera. everybody's sort of looking for the Ethereum killer out there. I think it's been quite a challenge for those projects to hold long term. But anytime someone comes in with the metrics and you get some adoption early on, that certainly becomes a front runner. A lot of people really liked DOT. There was sort of that parachain hype and the catalyst of that event. That has died down with a lot of the altcoins coming off the highs. And then really just adoption across some of the other project spaces. I think it's been a little lackluster recently. And really, you know, I'm kind of looking to see what some of the big players are going to start doing. You know, the Facebook / Meta platforms now, you know, how are they going to affect that market?
It's so funny. As Jarad said, Avalanche, I hear some of our programmers who are working in the background started searching their keyboard all of a sudden.
Avalanche, yeah.
I'm telling you, people are going to buy. Andrew, you're on the other side of the spectrum. What do you think? Well, how are you reading this Bitcoin market?
I was never really a big fan of crypto, and I've never invested in anything in crypto. You know, unlike Brian, who was one of the early buyers of Bitcoin.
It wasn't early enough, but you know,
No.
I remember it was funny. My son told me about it when it was but he said, "Don't. I think it's too late. You know, it's already at $20." So he said it's already run from, you know, pennies to $20, so it's too late to get in. Of course, and then I ended up finally relinquishing and getting in at, I think I got in at the first surge around 1,000 when it was up around 800-900. And then after that, I think it went up another couple $100, and then it dropped back, and I held it for a year. Kind of actually forgot about it because it went back down to $400 or $500, and then all of a sudden I started seeing it in the news again. It was back up to break even. I'm thinking, oh, good, I'm flat.
I remember when you told me the story of buying it. You went into a back alley with a guy.
Oh my God.
Say that story.
Are you serious?
Yeah, in those times, it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
You know?
It was crazy. You know, I went to a coffee shop where this coffee shop in downtown Vancouver, which is where they were this back office. They were selling Bitcoin, and they had like a crypto ATM, and it was broken. So a guy took me outside, and you know, and I'm handing out my money, and
That is
and he's got my phone, and he's saying, "Okay, I've put Bitcoin in your wallet," and I'm going, "Okay."
That's so funny.
That was dodgy.
Every time we do these interviews, one gem comes out.
Yeah.
Last time was Brian Socks. I think this one is your story.
I thought that was
alley.
so I walked away and said, "Okay, well, maybe that $1,000 is gone or whatever it was." But yeah. But anyway, I just sold it all the way up to when it got to 20,000, and then it peaked out there, and yeah. So that's where I got rid of most of it.
So in Canada, it's really hard to open a crypto wallet and put money. I mean, maybe 1,000, 2,000, but putting big money in crypto wallets is a bit hard. Like if you want to buy $1 million in there, it's just hard to get into that because of the regulation and stuff. I read recently an interview with one of the early co-founders of Dogecoin. I don't remember his name, but his Twitter account is Shibunashi Nakoto or something like that. He's really funny in Twitter. Maybe they can put the Twitter account picture in the video. I was reading that, and he was a little bit, he said he's out of crypto space. He doesn't believe that crypto really serving what it was supposed to do. It means that stay away from the financial system and, you know, become a hedge or something. As we see, you know, he was saying in the interview that, you know, when the market is weak, crypto is weak too. So it has really become a correlated asset with everything else, but it wasn't supposed to be like that. And it really lost its purpose. So I was never really interested in getting any of them. Of course, we profited a lot from volatility of the crypto by trading AMD, XNet,
Riot,
Mara, this stuff.
Coin.
Or Coin,
I
So
was back holding on Coin for a
Hood,
really long time.
Robinhood is definitely up and down was because of crypto. But I'm not. I think there is a speculative value in it, but I still doubt that there is any intrinsic value in crypto market. Like Jarad, for example, I have a question. Like Avalanche, you mentioned, this blockchain has a lot of potential for a lot of applications. But what if someone else comes with a better blockchain, you know, so
month
all
from
the,
now. Yeah.
you know, more efficient, better, easier to work, and then everything else can move into that. Like what happened? I remember Cardano, you said, I read the white paper and I think it's really great and I invested in Cardano, but you told me earlier that, you know, you're not in there anymore because the applications didn't really catch up with Cardano.
Yeah, and one of the simpler comparisons that a lot of people use is kind of like the early stages of the internet. You know, you're going to have different websites or just companies coming in saying, hey, look, I'm doing something different or new. I'm using the infrastructure that's been built and I'm trying this new thing. People are either going to adopt it and love it, and then maybe someone comes up with a better solution, builds upon sort of the shoulders of giants, or it becomes a mainstay. You know, you look at, so like I said, Facebook, for example, MySpace before it, you know, Zanga before that, just a social media platform by itself. That's sort of the adoption phase that I think consumers and clients, developers, and even legislation to some degree, all of that has to come together. And there's going to be some outliers. You know, there's going to be some people who survive if the crypto market does survive.
Yeah. How many altcoins are there out right now? Like I've heard something like 10,000 altcoins are out there.
Yeah, I think there's over 15,000 now. I want to double check that.
That's crazy.
It's a lot.
Anyone, you know, it's essentially a micro community that, you know, someone can create a coin and push everyone, hey, buy, and pump it. Like what was the one that the Squid Game came in?
Yeah.
That was the biggest. If this is not a scam or Ponzi scheme, tell me what Ponzi scheme is really. So Squid Game, everyone watching it, you create a coin, pump it up, and then dump everything, it becomes zero. Someone makes a couple of $1 million. You know, that's one thing that I really didn't get about these altcoins. And of course, unlimited supply of a lot of these altcoins. Like Bitcoin
Billions.
is max to 21 million coin that it can be mined, but
Some of these have billions and billions of coins.
billions of coins. So what's the value in there? These are the big question marks that I still have, and I'm not very knowledgeable in the crypto market. But as a trader, I always stayed away from directly trading them.
Yeah.
So you weren't in the Squid Game coin, Andrew?
No, I wasn't. No.
Yeah, it's, I mean, I read on a stat that it says 85% of millennials who are millionaire hold Bitcoin. I mean, of course, I'm not saying one causes another, but it's definitely an asset class, at least Bitcoin. I think it's here to stay.
Yep.
And for us as traders, we got to work around the volatility, find opportunities to make money, and that's what it's all about. But yeah, it's I'm sure Jarad can go on and on and on when it comes to crypto. Yeah.
So, good.
Yeah, let's wrap things up. We talked a lot about crypto market. We talked about Twitter, Elon. Talked about a crazy week we had. Gentlemen, final words. What do you see next week? Because this is probably going to be our last after hours for this year.
Well, Jared and I were just talking before the show started. Just making an observation that it seems like, you know, with this new variant that's coming out, it seems like some of the lockdown trades that we saw, you know, back in early in the year are starting to catch a bid. So stuff like Zoom was hot today. We noticed, you know, Peloton, which has gotten really beat up, was well in the green today. Docu, which is a stock that I'm still in from Thursday. DOCU, again, another sort of stay-at-home trade. So some of these trades seem to be catching a bid right now, and I think you know, we seem to be heading for more sort of restrictions, more lockdowns, and I think this is next week. I think we're just going to see more of a bid under these stocks. That's my thought, and yeah, just a little bit more volatility, more you know, more fluctuations in the markets as we go into this last week before Christmas.
Wall Street needs their bonus. Come on,
Yep.
we're waiting for a Santa rally. What's
Yep.
going on, Andrew?
Well, if this is the last one, I mean, that was a great year for Bearable traders in terms of the growth of our community and services that we provided. It was really amazing. Personally, for me, it was also an amazing year. And yeah, I'm very excited for 2022. It went by really fast, though. I have to say that it was like yesterday that it was January, and then we had the January 5th, and then in Washington, and then just quickly now we're in December. It really went by really fast.
what a year.
Fast.
But I'm looking
Lots,
forward.
lots more good stuff coming with Bearable Traders as well.
Yeah,
in
no,
the
I'm
new year.
very excited. Yeah,
Yeah.
those guys in the back, if you can see them, they're working hard on
Yeah, some
developing
more
new
stuff.
tools,
Yeah.
and yeah, we're really excited for our community next year. We had a lot of new people added to the community this year, and in terms of leaderships and mentors, and I'm looking forward to really expand the team next year, become better. Jarad started the crypto. You know, started adding more value and options, and yeah, there's so exciting. I mean, this is just the tip of iceberg, in my opinion, and I'm really looking forward. Thanks to all members who joined into the chat room, contributed to the community, participated in the discussions. YouTube for likes, dislikes, subscribes, comments, and everything. And it's just we are a small community. We want to be small and low profile and low key, but stay, you know, high quality. And I'm looking forward to next year. Well, thank you so much for every single one of you guys that were watching this video.
Andrew, when you usually say like and subscribe, people do. So would you say it to the camera?
No. The king of the YouTube is Thor.
Oh yeah.
The amount of
He
and
gets
comments and the things that he gets. Well, and he deserves it, because if you watch his videos, so clean. He speaks with so much enthusiasm, and just he's a great trader as well. So he deserves to have that recognition. And most of your recap is usually just doing the market open and do something like that. Doodly.
The next one, we're gonna get into the doodly trade. But
Yeah.
on a serious note, like one of the reasons, first of all, thank you so much for adding me to the team. It's been a blast, and I've been learning so much from all the mods. And I really admire your mentality. You know how we started the talking about your run? That's how we're gonna finish it. I think your mentality of just pushing forward and adding new tools, the stock trading simulator, the new tool that we're working on. So there's more and more coming, and just, you know, every day, what's next? And hopefully we can have as many people as possible in this journey with us. Yeah, you know, thank you so much, guys, for having me on board as well. It's been a blast. Last but definitely not least, Jarad.
Yes. Looking at market conditions, I think next week is going to be sort of a wild ride. I'm putting a little bearish tone into the market here.
Uh-oh.
I think we've got concentrated risk in tech. I think it's going to be challenging moving forward, and it's kind of a technical trader's dream, because levels are magic. You know, if you know how to read the charts, you're going to stay safe. If you don't, look out below.
Yeah.
What about
exactly.
personal
What about
and
personal?
business perspective, Jarad, for next year?
For business side, I think the expansion of the tool set is going to be absolutely loved in the community. We have sort of that visual edge. It looks modern, looks clean, but if you add all of the education that we've already done, all we're doing is just reinforcing what has been taught. It gives people a way to basically engage with it dynamically. So I love that side of the business moving forward. Everything we're doing with crypto, I'm looking to expand that into next year. Hopefully I can get Andrew on board a little bit more. And then as far as Ardi joining, I think I kind of felt initially like I was one of few who could speak language of options. So having someone else who's knowledgeable, who puts a lot of passion into teaching it and basically shows his work. I mean, it's been a pleasure just watching your sort of bi-weekly, recaps. So appreciate you joining. I'm glad you're here, and I look forward to working with you more. I know we'll work more in the future.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you all for watching. I know I might not be as good looking as Tor, but let's see some likes and subscribe. Definitely, if you enjoyed this, next year we're gonna have more guests coming, We have this set up. We got this office for this reason. There's going to be more recaps. Really, really exciting stuff. Thanks for staying with us. From me and all of the Bear Bull Traders community, thank you, and we'll see you in 2022.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Happy holidays.
Have a good one.
Happy
Happy holidays.
everybody.
Bye.